As you feel your body lying on the mat, let your weight settle into the floor, become heavy, letting go of any worries or burdens. Just let the floor hold you up. There's a lot going on in the world right now, both politically and perhaps people close to you. It's a very easy time to become emotional and ungrounded. So where do we find stability? Where do we find continuity? Where do we find peace? It's with our breath. As you surrender your weight into the floor, begin to notice the rise and fall of your breath in your belly, rib cage, and chest. And if you like, just let your hands rest on your lower abdomen, just below your navel. Or let's do one hand above the belly button and one below. Notice the breath moving in your body and notice where you feel it most. Is it under one hand or the other? And take that lower hand and bring it to one side of your rib cage. Notice where you feel the breath here. You take the hand that's on your rib cage and bring it up to your chest. Feel the breath moving under your hands. Notice how, as you bring your attention to your breath has a tendency to become slower and deeper. If you'd like to bring some Ujjayi breathing into your practice, gently constricting the throat. This does several things. It brings attention to your breath more deeply as you hear the sound of your breath. It helps you control and regulate the flow of your breath. It gives you something to focus on during your practice. I'm going to join you on my mat. Let's bring the knees in, wrap the arms around the legs and give yourself a hug. And feel the breath as your belly moves against your thighs. And let's bring the feet to the floor and widen the mat width apart. Let's reach the arms out, maybe goddess arms, whatever feels comfortable. And we'll slowly lower the knees to one side. Inhaling them up and exhaling them down the other way. Bring the legs back into parallel, but we'll continue with that pattern, but reach your arms up towards the sky. Let's lower the knees to one side, and the arms in the opposite direction. Inhaling up, exhaling over. You can stay with this pattern, or if you'd like to make it a little more complicated, the head can follow the knees. And even more complicated, the eyes can follow the hands. You choose the level of complexity that feels right to you.
What?
And one more time. Come back to center and give yourself another hug. And let's roll over and come to a seated position. Wriggle the buttocks flesh away. Sit up nice and tall. Continue noticing your breath as we come into a sun shining breath, inhaling up. Exhaling down. And we can let the head move as well as we inhale up. Lifting the head, looking up at the hands. As we exhale, and the head come down as well. Dropping the belly, expanding the rib cage, expanding the chest, drawing the belly in as we release the air. Imagine the breath flowing to your fingertips, your toe tips, enlivening every cell in your body. Last one. Let's bring the hands behind the head and press back. Relax the shoulders. Broaden the chest. Observe the breath. And bring the elbows in and broaden the upper back. Coming back to center, lower the hands, bring one ear to your shoulder, and bring the other arm up and over. Gently feel the stretch on the side of your neck. And then keeping your hand where it is, turn your head and slide your hand to the back of your neck, where the head and the neck meet. Rotate your head back to the side and release. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, release your ear to your shoulder. Reach that opposite arm up and over, touching your ear. Feel the stretch in the side of your neck. And then keeping your hand where it is, rotate your head to look at your armpit, and then slide your hand to the occipital ridge right where the head and the neck meet. And then rotate back. And gently turn and look over your shoulder. And back to center. And turn and look over your shoulder. And back to center. And interlace the hands, bringing them to the chest. Feeling the breath. Turn the palms and stretch them out. Inhaling up. Inhale, lengthen the side body. And exhale, stretch to one side. Come back to center. Inhale, stretch tall, and exhale, reach. Little spin to the rib cage and the head if that works for you. Back to center and down. Bringing one hand across your body. Look over your shoulder. And back to center. And look over your shoulder. And back to center. Come into some cat and dog in a sitting position, rocking back. And lifting up, rocking forward on your sitting bones. Rounding the back, rocking back. Movement moving from the belly, rocking forward on the sitting bones and stretching up. And back to center. Let's pick up a foot and let's just give that foot a little massage. We're going to squeeze the toes like you're squeezing a tube of toothpaste. Notice if there's any sore spots in your foot. Miraculously, this foot feels good today. Very interesting. If you have a sore spot, you can go online and look up foot reflexology and see what part of your body that's connected to. And then we're going to grab that foot with the foot flexed and pick the foot up, holding with our elbows or our hands. And we'll rock the baby. Deep breaths. And we'll switch sides. So grabbing the other foot, giving it a nice massage. Remember to squeeze your toes like tubes of toothpaste, pushing out any toxins, any stagnant energy. Flex that foot and then pick it up and either hold it with your hands or your elbows. Bring the chest towards the leg towards the chest. And we'll bring that leg down. Let's stretch our legs out and we'll just squeeze and spread the toes here. Point and flex. Still mindful of our breath. Circle the ankles. Reverse circles. And windshield wiper books. Let's bring the legs to one side. Bring one hand to the floor, the other hand to your hip. Let's lift the hip and little spinal twist here. And inhaling, twisting, looking over one shoulder. Exhaling, coming back the other way. Perhaps you're going a little bit further with each repetition. Feeling the breath opening you up. And you can stay with this variation. Or add an arm. The other hand is on the floor by your hip. Inhale, reach that arm forward, lift the hips, stretch up into a nice side stretch. And come on back down. Inhale, press the hips forward, side stretch. Opening the shoulder, opening the hip joint, deepening the breath. Do one more. You can stay with this variation or take the hand that's supporting you and bring it behind your hip so it's straight back behind your hip. This time we're going to take a big circle reaching all the way back so the chest is reaching towards the sky. And then coming back down, big circle. You could still be doing the first variation. That's perfectly okay. Two more of whatever version you're doing. So here we're reaching the chest towards the sky. It's a back arc rather than a side stretch. Last one. And bring that foot in, little butterfly. Compare the two sides of your body. Notice your breath, slow and deep. Always coming back to your breath. And let's switch the knees the other way. We start with the hand on the floor, the hand on the hip. Inhale, tall movement from the hip, spinning the spine, looking over your shoulder. And coming back to center, looking over the other way. Inhaling, twist. Exhaling back. 2 more here. You can stay with this pattern or bring your arm out. Inhaling the arm across, lift the hips, side stretch. Exhaling back down. Inhaling the arm across, the hips lift, side stretch. And exhaling back down. Hips press forward. Sitting gently. Last one. You can stay with this pattern or bring your supporting hand behind you. So it's right behind your hip on the floor, maybe about hand distance away from you. Big circle. Keep circling until your chest is reaching towards the sky. And then coming back. And then reaching across, circling arm behind you, chest lifted to the sky. And down. We'll do 2 more here, or whatever version you've chosen to do. Last one. And down, flip that foot over, coming back to Baddha Konasana. Really gentle. Now you can stay in Baddha Konasana, or if you want to go a little bit more challenging, just take one leg out of the way for a second. We're going to bring the other leg in front of us so that we're making a triangle so that the middle of our shin is equal to our belly button. So our foot is equidistant on either side of the midline, foot and knee. Then we're going to take the other foot and stack it on top. So it's not lotus position, it's called stacking logs. That's one variation. Pretty challenging pose. I'm feeling it very intensely in the bottom of my leg. So just hang out here. Again, if this doesn't work for you, stay in Baddha Konasana. Inhale tall. If you want a little more challenge, very slowly come forward. Feel intense stretch probably in the outside of your leg or in your hips or wherever you feel it. Let the breath open you up. Bring your hands to the floor in front of you if you like. Whoa, good job. All right, or you were in Baddha Konasana, and that's perfectly okay. If you'd like to do the other side, take one leg out of the way. Bring your other foot in front of you so that if you drew a line straight out of your navel, it would bisect the middle of your shin. And then we're going to bring the other foot on top. The legs are parallel to the long side of your mat. Heel over knee, knee over heel. Sit up tall, relax your shoulders and your face. Breathe into it. One side's probably more challenging than the other. And whichever pose you've chosen, if you'd like to come forward a little bit, in Baddha Konasana or in stacked logs. Hands can be on your legs or the floor. Intense, huh? Inhale back up. One more Baddha Konasana. Whew. Butterfly your knees. And let's bring those knees in and give yourselves a hug. We'll end our floor series with a back bend and a forward fold. So sitting in Dandasana, bringing the hands to the floor and back. Squeeze the elbows, lift the heart. Feel the breath full and deep in the front of your body. You want to come down onto your elbows, you can. Press out through the heels. Inhale back up. And we'll stretch over the legs. Feel the breath full and deep in the back of your body. Inhale back up. And take a moment in child. Just taking what we've done so far. Walk the hands back towards the knees, turn the toes over, and come into a forward fold. And start with deeply bent knees if you like. Swish your hips if you like. Wiggle your shoulders. Or move your head and neck. So just a little bit of fluidity here in your forward fold. Noticing your breath, and then bring your hands to your lower back. Let's straighten the back. And slowly come to standing. Taking all the time you need. And come into Tadasana. Finding your mountain pose. Feeling your breath. Feel the steadiness and the comfort of your breath. Drawing energy up through your feet as you inhale. Sending down into the earth anything you don't need as you exhale. And let's turn the palms outward and inhale the arms up overhead, parallel or steeple, whatever works for you. Deep breath in, get tall, and exhale, tilt. Maybe bump the hips out a little bit and tilt a little more. Come back to center. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tilt to the other side. And bump the hips out a little bit and tip a little more. Inhale up, float the arms out, spinal twist. And back to center and spinal twist the other way. And back to center. And we're going to come into a practice called One Brain Yoga. I'm going to come closer so you can see the hand position. You're going to stay in Tadasana. You're going to take one hand, holding your thumb to the front of your earlobe and your fingers to the back. Bring the other hand across, holding the thumb and the fingers. Bring the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth. So in Tadasana, we're going to do 14 mini squats, inhaling down and exhaling up. Here we go. It's hard for me to do the breathing and talk to you at the same time. But what we're doing by touching our earlobes this way is we're waking up acupressure points. By crossing our arms, we're integrating the two sides of the brain. That's 4. By doing our little squats, we're pumping blood and lymph. We're moving energy in our body, as well as moving the circulatory systems of blood, lymph. 6. By touching the tip of our tongue to the roof of our mouth, we're waking up our master glands in our brain. And by focusing on our breath, we're bringing life energy to every cell in our body. It's 9. Inhaling down and exhaling up. 10. Supposedly, this is a prevention for Alzheimer's. We're bringing blood and energy into our brain. 2 more. And release. Feeling stronger. Oh, that's also strengthening our legs. So we're feeling stronger, calmer, and smarter. And let's step out the 5-pointed star. And we'll turn our toes towards the short end of our mat. Bring our hands to our hips. So we're squaring our hips and shoulders. You need to widen your step. Do that. Let's lengthen the legs by lifting the kneecaps, drawing the pelvic floor up and tucking the tailbone. Create stability by looking forward. Then bring your hands behind you, either interlacing your hands around your elbows or bringing your hands together in reverse namaste. Feeling the grounding of your legs, drawing the energy up your legs as you inhale Very slowly, so you don't lose your balance, beginning to lift the chest and arc back. Inhale, tall. Exhale, slide the hands down the leg. Remember to stop halfway if you have issues with pressure in your head. Or if it's safe for you to go all the way over, hands can stay on the leg or the floor. If the front knee needs to bend, that's perfectly acceptable. Inhale, lifting the head and chest and sliding back up. Turn the toes to center. 5-pointed star. Turn the toes the other way. You position your feet if you need to, so you're square. Inhaling tall. Pull the mat apart with your feet. Lift your kneecaps. And tuck your tailbone. And then either interlace your hands around your elbows the opposite way or reverse namaste here. Inhaling deeply, very slowly begin to lift your chest and your gaze. Inhale back to center and sliding forward. Hands can stay on your legs or the floor. It's okay to put a little bend in your knee. Inhale slowly back up. Back into your 5-pointed star. And let's just come back to Tadasana for a minute and take it in. Going to go into some side lunges, so stepping out as wide as you can. Toes are facing forward. 5-pointed star. You're going to bend one knee with the hips pressing back. So it's kind of like warrior two, but it's not. And if you can bring your hands to the floor and frame your foot, fine. If not, we're staying up here. So the hips are back so there's no pressure on the knee. If you want a little more challenge, rotating other toes up and dropping the hips a little more. Keep paying attention to that knee. Nicely put back on the floor. Straighten your leg, inhale back up. 5-pointed star. Notice how your breath has gotten deeper with that. Let's shift our weight. So again, the toes are facing forward. So it's kind of like a warrior two, but not exactly. And this could be your pose. Or if you have the ability to come down and bring your hands to frame your foot, keep your hips back so the knee is okay. A little more challenge, lift up your opposite toes and roll them towards the ceiling, dropping your hips a little more. Find your variation and breathe into it. Place that foot on the floor, straighten your leg and inhale back up. Come back to your five-pointed star. And toe heel back to Tadasana. Quite challenging. Notice your breath. Come into tree pose, bring the hands to the heart. We'll shift the weight to the right, stretch up tall, rotate the left knee out. And again, you can just have your toes on the floor or foot against your calf, or come all the way up. Find your drishti. And if you like, add some arms. Make sure you're drawing energy up through the standing leg as you breathe. Exhaling, roots down. Oh, well. Sometimes it's the flexibility and sometimes it's the stability. When you've had enough, come on out. We'll do the other side. Starting in Tadasana. Hands to the heart, knee out to the side. Ground through your standing leg. Find your focal point. Choose your height. Skip your knee. If your arms need to wander around to help you find your balance, that's perfectly okay. Eventually, you might find your sweet spot. And down, and shake it out. And let's come down onto our mats. Let's come down onto our bellies. With a few breaths here. Notice your breath, the belly pressing against the floor. Let's give ourselves the gift of a simple back bend, coming into Sphinx pose. Pull the floor towards you, lift your chest. Keep length in the back of your neck. As you look up past your eyebrows, as you breathe slowly and deeply, notice how the breath presses against the floor. Feel the breath of the rib cage. Don't feel it that much in the upper chest, but feel it in the throat. One more breath here. And down. Cheek to the other side. Let's press back into child pose, widen your knees, toes touching, supporting your head on your hands or on the floor, arms in front of you or by your heels. A lovely pose to enjoy your breath in. Inhale up into table. Bring the right foot through and drop the hips, coming into a little bit of a lunge here, lifting the chest, opening the chest, a little back bend here too. And then we'll press back into a toe hamstring stretch. Inhale forward, bring your hands inside your leg and toe heel, so that your foot's on a 45-degree angle, dropping the hips, coming into lizard. Down onto your hands and just breathe here. Feel that nice inner hip opening. And from here, you can walk your foot across, come into pigeon. Or if that doesn't work for you, come back into table and slide your knee forward, coming into pigeon that way. You're either sitting on your heel or your foot's out in front of you at a right angle. Dropping the hips, lifting the chest. Slow, deep breath into the belly and out. And then coming down into the reclining pigeon. Again, you could be on your forearms or all the way down with your forehead on the floor. Find what works for you. This pose can be intense as we hold it, so deep breaths into the stretch. Feel free to unwind and rewind. Inhale, slowly back up. Back into child. Enjoy the depth of your breath and prepare the two sides of your body. Let's go back up into table. Bring the left knee through. Coming into a lunge here. Come onto your fingertips, stretch out. Turn the back toes over, press back into toe hamstring stretch. Inhale back into your lunge. Bring your hand inside your foot. Toe heel, so that your foot's at a 45-degree angle. Come down onto your palms and drop your hips. Let's do an easy lizard here. Clearly, if you want to do a more advanced variation, you're welcome to. And then walking your hands forward to get them out of the way. You can toe heel your foot across, put your shins on the floor at a right angle for pigeon. Or if that doesn't work for you, from lizard, you can come back into table and then slide your knee forward and just sit on your heel. Lock your hips, lift your chest, walk yourself back. Shoulders and face relax. And as we come into our reclining pigeon, you may just find yourself getting deeper and deeper. So please feel free to move in the pose, allowing your body to respond to the openings as we come down, perhaps onto our hands or our elbows or all the way down to the floor. Nice deep breaths here, happening almost automatically. Very slowly unwind out of this pose. One more stretch back into child. This is another great pose that inspires deep Ujjayi breaths. And when you've had enough of the child, roll over onto your back and come into Shavasana. getting whatever you need for comfort, warmth. As your body settles into this deep relaxation, observe the flow of your breath. How it moves through your body. Imagine it going to your fingers and toes and the top of your head. Enlivening every cell with prana, beautiful life energy. You can stay here as long as you like. When you're ready, begin to bring some movement back into your body. Gently move and stretch in whatever way feels good to you. And then roll to one side. And make your way to a seated position. So in times of stress or challenge, we sometimes hold our breath. But if we can breathe through any situation, we have a resource right at the tip of our nose that connects us to infinite possibilities of hope, of resilience, of renewal. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.